All right. Hello, guys, everyone. Hope you had a good day. My name is Kat, and I will be moderating this panel for the next 30 minutes or so. The title of this panel is called United People of Purpose, because we will be hearing inspiring stories from 3 amazing panelists showcasing the transformative power of our personal purpose. On the panel, we have Elif, Kieran, and Roland, which I will be introducing in a second, and then they will also come on stage. But let me first share with you a little bit what you can expect from this discussion. So you will be hearing stories from different personalities and journeys, showing that living and creating from purpose can take many different shapes and forms, and that there is not one way, only your way, and all are equally powerful. We will also touch upon the topic of purpose and profit and how they are indeed imperative to succeed in the new paradigm that we already are in. And we will also talk a little bit about how you can create more inspired, purposeful business every day. No matter your role, no matter the company that you work for, no matter what you're up for, you can always act purposefully. And then we will see wherever the conversation will take us. You may submit some questions in the chat. I will try to pick up on those, but I can't promise because it can be quite hard to moderate a panel and monitor the questions. But if it's not answered, you can also reach out to myself and all the panelists after this discussion. And before I start the intro, I will wait for everyone to be brought on stage.
Hello.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Okay, cool. So then I can start. I will start with Elif Atmaca, who is, maybe Elif, you can just raise your hand and say hi. Cool. All right. So Elif is the co-founder of TOYİ, a Turkey-based social enterprise that designs play experiences aiming to support children's creativity and imaginative powers. Elif has also designed the award-winning Creative Play Kit, which is kind of the flagship product of the company to enable children to create their dream toys with the objects that they find around them. So the kit allows children to develop their creative potential and upcycling skills, as they have to kind of redesign and reimagine the objectives around them. And therefore, they also become more conscious consumers from a very early age, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Yeah, and moreover, TOYİ also says that their product improves 21st century skills of children, such as problem solving, critical and innovative thinking, taking initiative, because there is no instructions how to use it and it's all left to the kids' imagination. Elif is also super passionate about children's rights, equal opportunities, and sustainable play. So we are very happy to have you on the panel today, Elif. Welcome. Next, we have Kieran, who is the co-founder of PO3 Ventures, which is based in London. PO3 is a purpose-driven design company delivering mindsets, service design, and skills for the circular economy. Kieran has been collaborating with progressive leadership teams to define the future of, and I never get this right, FTSE 100 businesses. I really struggle with the pronunciation of that. The public sector and charity organizations his entire career. He focuses on designing ways to shape organizational culture, enable behavior change, and rapidly prototype new circular propositions for a more sustainable future. Kieran also says that he believes that right now there is a huge opportunity for leaders and entrepreneurs in designing for purpose and profit. But I also hear that he says that the economy is not quite fit for purpose yet, and that we need to radically redesign so that we can build a better, more sustainable future for all. So Kieran, I can't wait to hear more about that, and also what you think needs to happen for that to become a reality. So welcome.
Thanks.
Last but not least is Roland, the founder of Breath, a purpose-driven ultra-long horizon investment company based in Utrecht in the Netherlands, my favorite country in Europe. The mission is to build companies in which capital, governance, culture, and structure are aligned to enable the purpose of these companies. And they do this with an evergreen horizon to inspire a systematic change in capitalism. The focus is on building purpose-driven companies that will operate at scale in basic need sectors such as housing, healthcare, education, and food in Northwestern Europe. And I believe they have just launched actually their first venture, so congratulations on that. Prior to Breath, Roland was also the founder and managing partner of Abekin, a global change leadership firm that he founded together with McKinsey and Company. And before that, he was also a partner at McKinsey and Company and a serial entrepreneur, worked for created several technology companies. So he has a lot of experience there too. And Roland says that he embarked on a conscious spiritual journey 20 years ago and has made his personal development the #1 priority in his life ever since. Love that. So welcome, Roland.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And yeah, just to quickly introduce myself as well, I'm the founder of humanplus, which is a global platform and community to support conscious creators and entrepreneurs to find and embody their purpose, and through that maximize the impact that they can have on the world and humanity. Because I fundamentally believe that the more we dare to go for what we really want, and the more we become who we truly are, the more joyful and meaningful our whole existence becomes, and the bigger the impact actually is that we can have on everyone and everything around us. And and that's what we do. We support people to get into the state of alignment and connection so that they can create from the inside out. And I am also incredibly passionate about bridging the gap between the spiritual and the business world, which is why I also host a podcast on this topic called the In Sync podcast. I did personally not wake up purpose-driven. I hate to admit, I would like to say that I have, but I haven't. So first I had a career in management consulting in London, followed by a brief stint of what I now call meaningless entrepreneurship. Of course, in the moment, didn't see it like that, but that was basically it. And when all of that came crashing down, it really forced me into deeply questioning the meaning of life and, what it is that we are doing here. And I guess that is the reason why I'm also moderating this panel to kind of create this space for all of you guys to share your inspiring stories. That's the intro. So now we have about, I believe, 20, 30 minutes left. So let's actually start with some questions. Roland, I would really love to know from you, what was your journey to purpose? How did you get on the journey? How did you discover yours? And then from there, how has that shaped your entrepreneurship ever since?
Thank you, Kat. Great question. And thank you for having me and us on this panel. And wonderful for all the people who are organizing these events. So very grateful that this is sending positive ripples into the world. And I need to work on my Turkish to understand more of it. But no, my journey started 20 years ago. Actually, it started with a personal development course that's really opened my eyes. Like, it was the first time I allowed myself on a 9-day course to experience more spiritual aspects of life and also more emotional aspects of my being. And this was for the first time that I was able to actually sit on a bench and be happy without achieving things. The next moment was 3 years later, 2004, when my body told me through a heaviness that became unbearable in my stomach that it was actually time to change course, because until that time I defined myself as a successful serial entrepreneur, and I needed to become very rich and influential and have lots of status, lots of people admire me to fit in this world and belong. And that's the moment where I made this big change to basically realize, now there's another path for me, and to really surrender to that path. And from that moment on, I focus really on developing myself, and also that from that moment on, I made very different changes in my life. I became a practitioner, helping people and teams and organizations to evolve, and then now back into the entrepreneurial seat after quite some time. I really like to combine these two things. So being a practitioner and being an entrepreneur, but now in service of the whole, as I call it.
Sweet. Can I ask what was the personal development course? Somebody might be curious about this.
Yeah, well, it's called Avatar. It was a 9-day program. It had a little bit of a sect aspect of it, but I found only later. But what it did, the technology was actually super, and it was also like 9 days. So it was really intense, and I had like an out of body experience, and I realized that I had basically to heal the relationship with my dad. It was a big thing in my life, and I was able to do that in the 4 years that he was still on this side on the planet. He died in 2005, so I was very lucky to have that insight and to basically embrace on this spiritual journey deliberately, and also heal my relationship with my dad, and really. So I was ready when he was gonna pass over to the other side to be with that. So I'm very grateful for that experience. It opened my eyes.
Thank you for sharing. Elif, do you want to go next and tell us a little bit about your journey into purpose?
Thank you, Katharina, and I'm very happy to be with you, with these beautiful people today. And actually, my story starts with my childhood. Because of my parents' jobs, I spent my childhood living in different cities, and most of them were located in countryside of Turkey, and most of them were disadvantaged areas. And I experienced the difficulty of being a child in this region, and I have seen families with low income, lack of educational opportunities, and experienced a natural disaster such as an earthquake. And growing up like this made me more sensitive and aware of what it feels like to be a child in difficult condition and what kind of need they have. And with this motivation, I started volunteering in an art workshop for children with different NGOs. And I was once again impressed by the unlimited imagination of children in this workshop. But on the other hand, I witnessed how children are affected by the difficulties they experience and how they lose their creative potential as they get older. And at that moment, volunteering was no longer enough for me. As a designer, I started to think about what could I do for more children. And I focused on design for children, design for child rights topic for my graduation project. And I discovered that the play is the most powerful and most natural tool to support children's creative potential. And I want to design a toy that would make the daily life of children more playful. And actually, TOYİ concept came to life with this idea. I designed open-ended toy making system for turning everyday objects into toy. And with this experience, I dreamed of turning every place into a playground for children. But after my graduation, I couldn't find a chance for Start TOYİ because I had no experience and no resource for that. I worked for different companies as an industrial designer for 2 years, but day by day, I was losing my motivation for work because I want to be with the children. But I was still volunteering, and I met my current partner one of our workshop. He was also volunteering at the same NGO. I told him about my TOYİ project and my future dreams, and he got super excited. And I was super happy because I found someone with the same purpose as me. Then we decided to start this idea as a social enterprise. We improved our play experience to support children's creativity with the free play approach. We did a lot of play tests with different children. But when we started our journey, we focused on play needs of disadvantaged children. But workshops made us realize that all children have difficulties with meeting their needs to play because of urban lifestyle, pressure of academic issue, or parental instruction. And at the end of the day, we came to a conclusion that every child needs a sustainable environment, suitable environment, and material to protect their imagination and creative potential apart from their socioeconomic situation, home country, language, or culture. So we expanded our mission even further than and decided to reach as many children as we can. And right now we have play friends in more than 16 countries actually, and it still amazes me how this little project
Wonderful.
that many children reach that many children around the world.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Kieran, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks for having me, inviting me along with these guys. Yeah, I'm not sure my story is quite as emotional or purpose-led as Elif's or perhaps Roland's. But I guess, so my purpose originally started when I was at university. My daughter was born, but that was unbeknownst to me. I found out she was born when she was perhaps 2 months old. I won't go into that whole backstory, but essentially I was driven into work to earn money, so that I could actually look after my daughter. I left university prematurely, and actually found for the next few years I was working jobs that I didn't particularly enjoy. They were literally just to earn money for large corporates. And I got to maybe my late 20s, and I found small boutique businesses that I was working for were giving me a lot more joy. I found really good people in those businesses. Started working with lots of charities and NGOs, and it was a much more kind of purposeful existence. So move forward a little bit, and all of the small design boutique businesses that I found were very purposeful, where we were designing things to meet people's needs. So meeting people who were the users of charities and kind of public health organizations. But I found those small boutique businesses were being bought by large corporates because they were seeing an opportunity in those design businesses being profitable and what the industry actually wanted. And the large corporates that were buying the small design businesses kind of, sorry, 1 second. Very dry throat, too much coffee this morning.
No worries.
The large corporates that were buying those small businesses were kind of changing the dynamic of those businesses. It was the organizational structures that were driving for profit alone were detracting from the small business's purpose of designing to meet people's needs. You know, if you're an end user with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's and you're trying to use the services of a charity, for instance, it's a very, you're designing things to meet the needs of those very vulnerable audiences. But when these smaller businesses were bought by large corporates, suddenly everything was driven by profit, and all of the good people in the business became depressed. The business culture changed dramatically. People would leave the smaller businesses. So essentially, zoom forward a little bit more, and my business partner and I started our business to essentially design organizations, services, things that help people rather than being driven by profit. Because if you design things that actually help people meet people's needs, you have success anyway, and it propagates more good work and more meaningful work. So I feel that's kind of my journey end to end over about. And now my daughter's at university, so she needs a little bit less support than she used to. So I'm free. I mean, this is one thing. It's a very privileged position as a kind of middle class white guy in London to say follow your purpose, but actually a lot of people don't have the freedom to do that. So I have less responsibility now. I have a career that helps support me. I've had opportunities to support me, but it's not quite as easy for everybody to do that.
Yeah, understand. And I think, part of, first of all, thank you for sharing your story, all of you. And I think, part of the purpose of this panel is also to show that purpose as such, because a lot of people feel very, very intimidated when they hear it. Oh, I need to find my purpose. What is it? And they think they need to find this like grand thing. And also to create a bit of an understanding that purpose always changes over time. And you can find purpose in many different ways. So not everyone, it doesn't always you don't have to be the next Elon Musk or something like this. You can find it in very simple things, and it evolves over time. But I think we can all agree that, inherently we all have this desire to create something and have a meaningful existence. And it sounds that for all of you, it started also with a kind of a seeking impulse, like there's something more here. Let's find out what it is. So I think that's very inspiring. Actually, in the interest of time, Kieran, you just mentioned something that I wanted to touch upon, and that is the topic of purpose and profit, because a lot of people still think that, and I'm really curious, I really do wonder in general, maybe it's just my generation, where that even comes from, that purpose and profit cannot coexist. And I would really love to get your views on that, how it's actually completely imperative to succeed in the long run and in this new paradigm.
Absolutely. So the two things you just mentioned, people seeking purpose, I mean, it's useful to, so there's kind of evolutionary purpose, you know, saving the world, having some higher purpose. But then in business or work, at least, I think there's a much more tangible purpose, which is where everybody in the organization knows what's happening in the organization, why they're doing what they're doing. You know, historically, there's always a big disconnect between people who are setting the business strategy and deciding what the business is going to do, and then people on the front lines just doing menial tasks and have no kind of connection with whatever that is. And that the connection doesn't have to be defining some world-saving purpose for the business. It's just knowing what your part is to play, being involved in decisions, being asked about your opinion, being given autonomy and ownership of what you're doing. So if you think about that in terms of why that would be successful for business, if you have empowered employees, if you give people accountability and ownership, it's going to drive the business forward. You know, you don't have to be saving the world. There's plenty of, Patagonia, or, it's a retail organization, but people feel very purpose driven because they're connected to, they know why the business is doing what it's doing. It's an apparel business. It's not saving the world, but it's not hurting the world, and people feel very happy to be a part of it. So it builds loyalty. You know, if you erode the world's resources, there's a finite timeline in which you're going to survive as a business. If you erode your employee loyalty, there's a finite time before they leave. And if you erode just generally the kind of consumer base and their belief in your business, then you lose all your customers. So if you do any of those things, you start to decimate the kind of sustainability of your business. So of course, you know, if you have purpose, it builds a long-term sustainable business. It just makes sense. Short-termism is probably the biggest problem in industry. You know, short-term gains to make financial end of year, short-term gains to make personal sales targets, short-term gains to get market, dominate the market if you're a startup, so you can make an exit. And all of that short-termism is what will ultimately kill a business. Yeah.
Roland, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, purpose and profit. So I have a sense that, you know, everybody in business knows that the current way of operating is not sustainable. So, but then how do you do it differently? That's very difficult. I mean, very few people have ideas on that. And then we see small scale initiatives that are very pure and great, but because of the size do not make much impact. But then, and then you see large pools of capital, ESG funds, SED funds being deployed, but that's kind of, I call it greenwashing, because basically nothing changes structurally. So what we intend to do is to really build inspired companies, inspired to serve a higher purpose. And one of the examples where we're doing that is Home Built Earth. So now we're raising 200 million euro, which we will close in Q1, we expect, from pension funds even. And we aim at use that money to build affordable, sustainable homes in Northwest Europe. And so it's very interesting. And it will be foundation owned. The purpose will be guarded in a foundation. And basically what we do is we actually just share the upside with the stakeholders. So with the tenants and, you know, of course, with the investors and with the planet in a balanced way. That's the way we build companies in Breathe. And what I find very encouraging is that now also large pension funds are opening up to this new structure. So they will have no say, which is normally the case, of selling Home Built Earth. Our intention is to never sell it and to build homes and keep them basically forever. Yeah? So that people can really live there, and we lower rents. We're not going to increase rents because of profit. Now, Of course, we make a profit, but a balanced profit. And so we are just doing that. And I find it encouraging that this seems likely to fly. And we do that to create an example that it's possible to structure your organizations around purpose, be more balanced, and then to inspire many companies and also investors around the world to follow that way of working. Not exactly how we do it, that's irrelevant, but more to inspire other people that it can be done. And by the way, in a country like Denmark, 60% of the listed companies are foundation owned. So there are already a lot of existing structures that can inspire people. And the funny thing is, these companies, they live longer and they contribute more to society, pay higher wages, spend more on innovation, and a lot of the excess money is plowed back into society. So there's another way, and it's more fun. It's more fun to do that. It's also, it requires one thing, is that you spend a lot of time on your inner worlds, because you cannot build a purpose-driven company as a label if you're not congruent on the inside, and that's often underestimated. What it takes to, I am every day I'm working to let go of my attachment to money, or on status. So I'm letting go of that, but it's hard work.
I mean, that's what the foundation of my company is also built on, right? The inner work first before we go out in the external world. And it's the only way. I agree. You have to be ready with that mindset, though. But the thing is, once people embark on the journey, they will realize it's infinitely more rewarding to, create from the inner place, from the right place, because all of these short-term gains, they're not. That's ultimately not what life is about. So
and still we can make money, but not excessive. So if we are successful in Home of Earth, we have allocated 10% to the purpose and to the team, of the value creation. Now, over time, a bigger part will go to the purpose, but the team will be rewarded in a nice way, but not excessively, like now often is the case in private equity or in venture capital or in asset management. It's not needed. Right, we can have a good life and build fantastic companies in a new way, and it's a lot of fun.
And I think that's actually where people go very wrong, because they think, then there's not so much in for me. I'm not going to be rewarded. But actually, the more purpose-driven a company is, the more value it creates for the world, the more it's growing, and the more abundant you as well you become as well. So I think that's really that new age thinking that has to go into people's minds.
I think what Roland's saying about proving the model is important, because let's be honest, we live in a capitalist free market economy, and if you prove the business model works, and other people who are, most CEOs are accountancy, large accountancy firms, they know how to increase the margins. So if you can show that the model works, other people will follow, not because it's the good thing or the right thing. Let's be honest, they'll follow because it's profitable and it's sustainable, because CSR, greenwashing, people have always been known that certain things are not good.
Yes.
They don't stop doing them because personal greed gets involved. I'd be really interested in Elif, actually, how the funding for your business, or how you started it, because one thing I think about is the formation of companies, at least in the UK, aren't really set up unless you're a social enterprise or a community interest company. It's very hard to get funding and for a kind of a business that's for profit but also for good. So I'd be interested in how you set up and how you scaled what you're doing.
Elif, before you start, we have 2 minutes left, so perhaps you can keep this brief, but also maybe share maybe a tip also that people can do that are listening, that be like, okay, I can do this to be more purpose driven, to answer Kieran's question, and then your last tip also.
Okay, actually in Turkey we have no definition about social enterprise, but we found some kind of accelerating program, and we start with that resource actually, but we act like normal company.
Okay. All right. I don't think we have much time left. So I'm thinking maybe Elif or someone else wants to share like one thing that people that are listening right now that they can do to become more purpose-driven and act more aligned.
I can share one thing. Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead, please.
No, so one thing. See, people often feel powerless because they feel they're small. But the only thing that is required is to basically go inside and feel where's your energy going. If you're connected in your body, and if you relax, then your body will tell you where you can contribute. And the only thing then is asked is a bit of courage to take one step into that direction. And that's what you can contribute, and that is perfect. That is probably the biggest step we can take as humanity. If we all take one small step with courage into the direction we know is right for us and for the whole. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And I want to give an example for this question, because I understand how every company centers the purpose, or maybe the field of the company, not especially addressing a purposeful business model. But for example, we worked with a company in Turkey. They were in a field of construction, not especially in an impactful company. But a group of employees start a voluntary group for that goes to schools and brings some workshops with kids. And these voluntary groups in the company held, I guess, 25 people. And I am 100% sure it starts just with a one person brought the idea. So even if it's not aligned with the core business of company, there are many things we can do as individual. Just find people who have common dreams is enough for the start something, actually.
Yeah, I'd agree. If you can learn to tell stories within organizations or within your communities and create more empathy, that's kind of like, well, the first step, isn't it? You know, getting understanding between everybody is why you're trying to do what you're trying to do. So storytelling, learn how to become a storyteller and communicate what your purpose is. That would be a good start.
Yeah. Because we have a power of snowballing something, actually, and it's really work for purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Even this forum right now, like Kieran, you just said, not everyone is going to act, purposefully. Like we have to have forerunners that just prove that the model works, and then the mainstream goes behind it. I think we're all part of the. Okay, are we out now? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to finish that thought, and I'm going to finish that thought. Even for us. We just need a few people who run on the forefront, show that it's possible, inspire people, and the rest will follow. So, yeah. I'm not sure we are still live or out, but
I think we're probably going sometimes. Yeah, little messages are going up at the bottom. No one knows.
Thank you, Kat. Hey, Kat. One thing, Kat. What are you longing for? If you look at purpose and the business world, what are you longing for?
What do you mean? What I'm longing for?
Now, what would you love to see emerge for yourself and for the world? You just feel
I would love to see emerge that, as we come into the world, we are immediately going on a path of discovering who we truly are. And, all the conditionings that is thrown at us, there will be ways to see through that and realize our high self really right from the start. So, yeah, that's what I'm longing for. So purpose becomes, in a way, our birthright.
Thank you. Beautiful.
What about you? What about you, Roland? Elif, what are you longing for?
I think we have no time for sharing.
I don't know. I don't know whether we're still live or not.
We keep going until we're kicked out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Still live? Yeah.
You want to go, Elif?
No, you can go.
I can go. So a long time ago, I found out in a way that my purpose, which would change over time, is to remind myself and others of our inner wisdom in order to experience unity in diversity. And and that's what I long for, is that we kind of experience unity in diversity. I mean, we have such a diverse world. Also, all the people who are collected, we all have our individual gift to give, but there's unity in it also. And when I feel unity, it's like love, and then I feel this radiance and joy. And if I feel separation, and this for me is always telling: is it separating me or is it unifying? That will help me inform me of my decisions. So that's what I long for. And I've been fascinated in business already since the age of 15. So this is my playground. And other people have theater or the cultural side of life. Beautiful. I love to go theater. I'm not. That's not my playground. Playground for me is business.
Wonderful.
Already for a long time. So
wonderful.
that's why I play.
Just received a message saying I can say thank you and close the session. So we were still live. Amazing.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being on this panel today and sharing your wisdom and insights. And yeah, I hope it will reach, well, it will reach whoever it needs to reach. So thank you.
Thank you.